The millionaire lost everything. Until a janitor's daughter changed his life in seconds. Imagine this, a man who once flew private jets now sleeps on a park bench with yesterday's newspaper as a blanket. His $2.7 billion fortune? Gone. His penthouse, his cars, his friends who clapped him on the back at yacht parties? Vanished overnight. And just when he's about to give up completely, a little girl in a faded school uniform walks up, looks him straight in the eye, and says 5 words that break him, and then save him. If that doesn't make you want to know what happens next, I don't know what will. Stay until the end, because this one hits hard. And if it moves you even half as much as it moved me while writing it, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a story like this again. Let's dive in. Alexander Voss was 42 when the world still called him King Alex. Forbes had his face on the cover 3 years in a row. He built Voss Capital from a dorm room algorithm into the hottest hedge fund on the planet. People said he could smell fear in the market and turn it into gold. He had a laugh that filled rooms, a watch collection worth more than most zip codes, and a wife who looked like she stepped out of a magazine, because she literally did. Then came the whistleblower. An anonymous email to the SEC, cooking the books. Inflated returns. Fake trades. The headlines exploded, King Alex's empire built on lies. The fund collapsed in 48 hours. Investors screamed for blood. The government froze everything. His wife filed for divorce before the ink on the indictment was dry, taking the dogs, the Hamptons house, and every friend they ever had. Alex pleaded guilty to save himself from life in prison. They gave him 7 years, but he only served 18 months because the prisons were overcrowded and he wasn't violent. When they released him with a plastic bag of clothes and $38 in cash, nobody waited outside the gates. No driver. No assistant. Just the Texas heat and the sound of freedom that suddenly felt like abandonment. He drifted north, sleeping in shelters when he could, park benches when he couldn't. Pride kept him from calling the few family members who might still answer. Within a year, the man who once tipped valet guys $1,000 just for smiling couldn't scrape together enough change for a cup of coffee. One December evening in Chicago, the wind off Lake Michigan cut like a razor. Alex sat on a bench in Grant Park, coatless, staring at the lit-up skyline he used to own a piece of. His fingers were blue. His stomach had stopped growling days ago, it had given up. He closed his eyes and, for the first time since he was a kid, whispered a prayer he didn't even believe in anymore. That was when he heard the small voice. "Mister, are you okay?" He opened his eyes. A girl no older than 9 stood in front of him, wearing a purple coat 2 sizes too big and a knit hat with a pom-pom. Behind her, maybe 20 yards away, a man in a city-issued janitor jacket was locking up the boathouse, keys jangling. "I'm fine," Alex lied, voice raspy from disuse. "You don't look fine," she said, tilting her head. "You look like my goldfish did right before he floated." Alex almost laughed. Almost. The girl reached into her backpack and pulled out half a peanut butter sandwich wrapped in plastic. "Daddy says when you have extra, you give it away. We had extra tonight." He stared at the sandwich like it was a brick of gold. "Thank you, but I can't take your dinner." "It's okay. Daddy makes 2 every night in case he gets hungry at work. He won't mind." She held it out. Alex's hand shook as he took it. The bread was soft, the peanut butter still smelled sweet. He hadn't cried in years, but his eyes burned now. The little girl watched him take a bite, then sat down on the bench beside him like it was the most natural thing in the world. "My name's Mia," she said. "What's yours?" "Alex." "That's a king's name," she announced. "Like King Alexander the Great. Did you know he cried when there were no more worlds to conquer? Daddy read me that." Alex swallowed hard. I think I ran out of words a long time ago, Mia. She studied him for a long second, the way only kids can, without filters. Daddy says everybody gets lost sometimes. But lost just means you haven't found the next thing yet. The janitor was walking over now, boots crunching on the frozen path. He looked tired, mid-40s, kind eyes under the brim of his city cap. Mia, we gotta catch the bus, baby. She hopped up. Daddy, this is King Alex. He needed half my sandwich. The janitor, his city badge read Marcus Rivera, gave Alex a quick once-over, the kind men do when they're deciding if someone's dangerous. Whatever he saw made him relax a fraction. Thank you for looking out for my daughter, sir, Marcus said quietly. Come on, Mia. Mia waved. Bye, King Alex. Remember what I said. They disappeared into the glow of the streetlights. Alex sat there holding the empty plastic wrap, tears finally falling. He didn't know why those 5 words wrecked him so completely. Lost just means you haven't found the next thing yet. The next night, he went back to the same bench. He told himself it was just for the warmth of the boathouse lights, but deep down he knew better. They showed up again. Marcus locking up, Mia skipping ahead. She spotted him immediately. You came back. Marcus sighed but didn't scold her. Instead, he looked at Alex. You eat today? Alex shook his head. Marcus reached into his lunch bag and pulled out a thermos. Chicken soup. My mama's recipe. It'll warm you up. Alex tried to protest, but Marcus was already pouring it into the lid. The smell hit him like childhood. They sat together on the bench, the 3 of them, sharing soup under the stars. Mia told Alex about 3rd grade, about how she wanted to be an astronaut and a veterinarian at the same time. Marcus didn't say much, just listened to his daughter the way fathers do when they're trying to memorize every second. When the thermos was empty, Marcus said, there's a shelter on Halstead that still has beds this time of night. Clean. Safe. I know the guy who runs it. Alex went. It was the first night in months he didn't wake up every hour expecting to be robbed or frozen. He started showing up every evening when Marcus finished his shift. Some nights Mia had homework questions. Some nights Marcus brought extra soup. Some nights they just sat quietly. Alex began to talk, first in short sentences, then in paragraphs. He told them about the private jets, the lies, the fall. He waited for judgment that never came. One night in February, the city got slammed with a blizzard. Marcus's usual bus was cancelled. He and Mia were stuck at the boathouse with nowhere to go. Alex looked at them shivering and something snapped awake inside him, something he thought had died. There's heat at the shelter, he said. But it's a 20-minute walk in this. I know a church 2 blocks away that leaves the basement open when it's this cold. I've slept there. It's not much, but it's dry. Marcus met his eyes and nodded once. They fought through the storm together, Mia riding on her dad's back, Alex holding Marcus's arm so neither slipped on the ice. When they finally pushed open the church door, the warmth felt like heaven. That night, curled up on cots with donated blankets, Mia whispered, "See, King Alex? You found the next thing tonight. You helped us." Marcus waited until his daughter was asleep, then spoke so low Alex barely heard him. "I looked you up," he said. "On the library computer. I know who you used to be." Alex tensed, ready for the lecture. Marcus continued, "I also know who you are right now. The man who just carried my little girl through a blizzard so she wouldn't freeze. That's the man I trust with my family." Silence stretched between them, thick and holy. Spring came slow that year. Alex got a job washing dishes at a diner that didn't ask questions. The owner paid him cash every night and let him take home whatever didn't sell. He rented a tiny studio above the restaurant that smelled like fryer grease and hope. Marcus helped him fill out the paperwork to get his ID replaced. Mia brought him a library copy of Alexander the Great and made him read it out loud to her. One Saturday in May, Alex showed up at the park with a surprise: 3 tickets to the Shed Aquarium. He'd saved for 2 months. Mia screamed so loud people turned to stare. Marcus just looked at Alex with something that might have been tears. At the aquarium, watching Mia press her hands to the glass while beluga whales swam past, Alex felt something shift inside his chest, like a locked door finally creaking open. That night, back on their bench, it had become their bench, Marcus handed Alex a folded piece of paper. "My cousin owns a small custodial company. They're hiring a night supervisor for an office building downtown. Pays $15 an hour to start, full benefits after 90 days. I told him about you. He said if I vouch for you, the job's yours." Alex stared at the paper like it might disappear. "Marcus, why are you doing this?" Marcus looked at his daughter, who was trying to catch fireflies. "Because somebody once gave me a second chance when I didn't deserve it," he said. "And because my little girl thinks you're a king. I'm not gonna be the one to tell her she's wrong." Alex took the job. He showed up early, stayed late, learned every inch of that building. 6 months later, the company promoted him to account manager. A year after that, he was running crews all over the city. He saved every penny. Opened a bank account for the first time in years. Started taking night classes, finance, but this time ethics were the first chapter. Mia's 10th birthday rolled around. Alex rented out the entire diner after closing, cooked with the staff, and threw her a party with a cake taller than she was. Marcus stood in the corner wiping his eyes like allergies were suddenly a big problem. 2 years after that blizzard night, Alex stood in a small community center meeting room wearing a cheap suit he'd bought off the rack. 30 folding chairs were filled with men and women who looked a lot like he once did, hollow eyes, plastic shelter bags at their feet. He cleared his throat. "My name is Alex Voss. 5 years ago I had everything the world says matters. 2 years ago I had nothing. Then a little girl gave me half a peanut butter sandwich and told me loss just means you haven't found the next thing yet." He looked out at Marcus and Mia in the back row. Mia gave him a thumbs up. "I started a foundation," Alex continued. "We help people coming out of prison, people who lost everything, get their first job, their first apartment, their first win. We call it the Next Thing Project." He paused, voice cracking. "It's funded by the only money I had left that was clean. The signing bonus from the very first honest job I ever had. And every paycheck since." The room erupted. Marcus stood clapping until his hands were red. Mia ran up and hugged Alex around the waist so hard he almost fell over. 10 years later. Alexander Voss is 52 now. His net worth isn't billions anymore, it's somewhere in the low 8 figures, every cent earned the slow, hard way. The Next Thing Project has offices in 12 cities and has helped over 40,000 people start over. He still meets Marcus and Mia every Thursday night on that same bench in Grant Park, weather permitting. Mia's in college now, studying astrophysics and pre-vet, she still hasn't decided. Marcus retired from the city last year. Alex made sure his pension was supplemented. And every year on the anniversary of the night they met, Alex receives a text from Mia. Same 5 words, every time. "Found your next thing yet?" He always replies the same. "Working on it, kid." Because the truth he learned on a freezing park bench is this: rock bottom isn't the end. Sometimes it's just the place where you finally look up and see the people willing to reach down. Sometimes all it takes is half a sandwich and a little girl who still believes in kings. And that, my friends, is a true story, names changed, but the heart of it 100% real. If this moved you, if it reminded you that second chances are real, that kindness can rewrite a life in seconds, then please hit that like button. Share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And subscribe, because every week I bring you stories that prove the world is still good, still worth fighting for. I'll see you in the next one. Stay human. Stay kind. And remember, if you ever feel lost, it just means you haven't found your next thing yet.